Welcome to Travel Stories Unpacked. This week, we are going to be unpacking de-influencing travel. And on this podcast, we talk about all things from the silly to the serious and everything in between. I am Ashley, one of your hosts.
And I'm Annie, your other host. And I am so excited to get into this because it's festival season. The weather is warming up. I think we're coming up on the end of spring break season. People are getting ready for summer, which follows travel influencers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So when we say we're going to de-influence travel, this is actually something I've seen coming up more and more, especially sort of on TikTok, is this the idea of just de-influencing in general. So what does that mean to you?
This is actually my first time hearing de-influencing.
I spend a lot more time online than you.
Yeah, you do. You are more chronically online than I am. To me, I mean, if I had to guess, like I said, I have no idea what this term means. This is my first time hearing this. If I had to guess, I think it means, travel influencers making it seem like it's something that it's not. It's kind of going against that and being more authentic and real.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, to me, absolutely.
Love being right.
But I think that de-influencing in a larger sense is also just this idea of like taking back your experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's from the products that you buy or the things you seek out, it's sort of separating yourself from the herd and also asking yourself, is this a good fit for me? Or is this something that I actually need?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to travel, I think we can talk about it on so many levels. But since we already brought up festival season, I think we should start with those sorts of things, like whether it's destinations that you might have been influenced to be attracted to, or like travel events that are honestly a huge part of being a travel influencer. So let's start with Coachella.
Oh
I feel
my
like
gosh,
we have to. It's been all over my feed. Has it been all over yours?
Yeah. Most because of Lady Gaga's performance, which I'm not mad about.
Yeah, no, okay.
She's bringing back like weird Lady Gaga, and I'm all for it. So if you think back to season 1 of Travel Stories Unpacked, my friend Kate was on here talking about traveling for music. This is totally different. This is like the opposite of de-influencing, I feel like, is what Coachella has become. And I say has become because it wasn't always like this. It used to be like more of an arts festival, kind of like what Bonnaroo is or Burning Man. I'm sorry, but like you're telling me all these people are flocking here to see bands like Ginger Root? That's a real band.
I'm going to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down if I've ever even heard of them.
Oh,
thumbs down.
All right. Let's play a game real quick. I'm going to give you 2 real band names and 1 fake name, and you tell me which one's fake.
Okay.
Ready? Velvet Canoe, Horse Girl, Infected Mushroom. Which one's fake?
Oh my gosh. Horse Girl?
No, that one's real.
Wait, so Horse Girl is at Coachella?
Yes.
What was the other one? Velvet Canoe?
That's the fake one. Okay, here's another one. Tin Liquor, Banana Funeral, Prison Affair. Which one's a fake band name?
Those are too good. The Tin Liquor. That's
nope,
fake.
That's a real one. Banana Funeral's fake.
Oh, yeah, I like the ones you're making up. Those sound more like bands to me.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
Okay, Grandma, Ginger Root, Interplanetary Criminal.
Okay, Grandma is not a real band.
Yay! 1 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yay!
But that's what I mean. Like, you've got like I don't know how many people that Coachella attracts now, but it's over the course of 2 weekends. One of them which is happening now, and the tickets. I read that 60% of people who are going are financing their tickets through monthly payments to see Ginger Root, Interplanetary Criminal. I'm sorry, like what?
I mean, I guess if you can finance your DoorDash order, you should be able to finance Coachella as well.
Financing a hot dog is different than financing a VIP package.
Finance a hot dog, another band name performing at Coachella this year.
So that's what I mean. Like, it's so overwhelmingly superficial, it seems. Like, of course you had your headliners like Lady Gaga and Travis Scott, Green Day. But beyond that, like, that poster where all like the headliners' names are really big and then it shrinks down to like the itty bitty tiny. Yeah. Like, these were the names I pulled from, like Kneecap.
Oh, okay.
My sister actually went to Coachella a few years ago.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, it was her best friend's bachelor/bachelorette party. Like, it was a joint thing, right? And of course, I rolled my eyes so hard because I was such an insufferable hipster. I'm like, you're going to Coachella? And then she texts me in the middle of the night. She goes, oh my God, I just saw Fantagram. It was so good. I'm like, Kelly, you heard one of their songs in my car once, like years ago. And ever since then, you've said you like Fantagram. You can't even name another song other than the one you heard. She's like, well,
elitist over here.
I'm just saying, like, whatever. She had a great time, but she was like, it was enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's like, my sister's the social butterfly. She likes to hang out, have a good time. She loves like being in a club. Like that's her thing. But even by then she was like, I'm over it. But that's what I mean. It's like, it's not even so much about the music anymore. You have these influencers.
It's about the clout.
It's exactly. You go to Coachella for the clout. And I follow a lot of like Instagram content creators and they're all at Coachella right now.
Okay, so this is so interesting. Okay, first of all, you have to acknowledge that there's a travel component to Coachella.
Oh,
like
yeah.
people are traveling to do this.
All
they're
over the
budgeting
world
to do this. Yes, yes. But there's also this thing that I've heard that people fake it. They
Yes.
fake their Coachella appearance.
Or trips in general.
Yeah, because just through very strategic posing, obviously dressing the part's going to be big. And then
Photoshop.
sometimes even, yes, to the point of photoshopping yourself into public photos that have already been posted or stuff like that to give you the background of actually appearing like at Coachella. But I just think that to me, it's sort of the pinnacle of like the worst travel experience,
Absolutely.
right? The worst crowds. There's the
It's
accommodations are non-existent. It's basically tiered, right? Down to how much you spend to what your accommodations are, to the point where some people sleep in their cars.
Can you guess how much a VIP ticket is?
No. I'm guessing it's more than I pay for like 6 months of rent.
It's $1,200 for one weekend.
Okay, so not more than 6 months of rent, but
But I'm saying like,
and that's VIP.
that's VIP for one weekend, and I don't know if it's for all days. The point.
So what do you get with VIP though? Is that when you actually get a campsite?
I don't know.
and
You
a
probably
tent?
don't have to sleep in your car or eat a cheese sandwich. Looking at you, Firefest. But Coachella now has grown into a destination, right, in and of itself. So now, like Expedia sells Coachella tour packages.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and if you hold an Amex cards, I can't remember which one, you get priority access. It's not free, but you get priority access to
just
certain
to get
tickets.
your ticket.
Just to get your ticket.
Okay.
But yeah, like you can buy tour packages for Coachella now. Again, all to see Tin Liquor and whatever. Like,
But I think to tie it back into the whole de-influencing, I wonder how many people are at Coachella once they get there that actually truly even enjoy the
that's
experience.
right, like the music, right? That reminds me of a segment. I can't remember which talk show it was. It was Live Witness News, and Coachella was happening. So this talk show host, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, he sent like a fake reporter to the entrance of Coachella to interview all these hipsters going in. Because, hipsters are terrified of not hearing about something, right?
Yeah.
So the reporter, this fake reporter is like, oh, are you excited to see, Chelsea and the Clintons? It's a fake band. And they're always like, oh, yeah, we heard they were really good at like Lollapalooza. It's a fake band.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that's gonna be me one day. Just like feeling really uncomfortable. So I'm like, oh yeah. Or like, when you don't really hear somebody, so then you just like laugh, and then they're like, I just told you the most tragic story from my childhood and you laughed. And you're like, oh God. Like you're calling me, man.
I
have no
mean,
idea.
God forbid, like you've never heard of something so obscure.
I know. Also, though, I think people are just afraid to be like, oh, I've never heard of that. Or I don't have an opinion about that. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's the best statement to make.
Well, that does go into travel influencers, right? It's about being relevant.
Yes,
Um,
which again, there is something to be said for like, well, is this your livelihood? Is this how you make money? Or are you just aspiring
Mhm.
to be like those people that you think are living a lavish life that you want, going to the things that you want to do?
But it's not real.
That's the thing. It's not.
Yeah, everything that I feel like you've ever seen about van life, for example, which
Okay.
yeah, van life, right?
Okay. Mhm. Let's
is
talk
super
about it. Let's get
glamorous.
into it.
Because I thought about doing it, and when I was
It
in
totally fits you in a way.
like it depends. Like I'm not gonna do it through like Cleveland, Ohio, but like back in 2000, I think like 18 or whatever, when it was really like catching on.
Oh, yeah.
I was in New Zealand, and New Zealand has a really big camping culture. Because they're huge on like outdoors and preserving nature and stuff. And I really thought about, instead of renting a car, renting a van. Because I saw them everywhere, these bright orange vans that you can camp in, that comes with like all this, like you pay once and it comes with everything you need to go basically van lifing for a minute. I didn't ultimately do it, because I read about it and I thought about it, I'm like, this is more trouble than it's worth. And then I realized I'm doing this so I can post a picture about it. Like, I don't actually want to do this, right?
Yeah.
So like I had my self-aware moment.
Right, you had that full circle thing.
Yeah.
And because van life, again, is something that I think really picked up because of social media, because of influencers. And I will say, like, some are definitely more honest about how, like, yeah, we typically only show the beautiful mountain views. We don't show when we end up in a Walmart parking lot. We
There's
don't
us
show
emptying out the septic tank.
Yeah, here's us not showering for 3 days. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
whatever. And like even that though, when they do show you the glimpses of it being real,
Like
is
waking
a
up to this
tactic.
view. Like,
Yeah, like it's a tactic when they show you like the unglamorous stuff to like make them seem more real. But it's always still a very curated experience that they're putting forth, you know?
So love that you said curated experience on the surface at least, because when I was researching how specifically travel influencers are changing the travel industry now, it brought me to a time.com article about basically there's this debate, right, that with these travel influencers, and this is a quote from the article, they portray some destinations as available for, if you're listening not watch, I'm doing quote marks. They portray some destinations as available for possession and consumption and gives tourists the sense that they have the right to consume a destination that way to which they are presented. So people who are seeing this content, consuming it, they're not actually getting the real deal. So when they go to visit these places, they have this idea in their head that they're entitled to basically live the life that this so-called glamorous travel influencer lives, even though it couldn't be further from the truth.
That's interesting.
Right? Which then brought me to this idea of like, obviously Ashley and I, we work in the travel business and we work with travel agents. Do you think there's a trend lately where travel agents are becoming more like influencers and then vice versa?
I think to a certain degree, there's pressure as a travel agent to enter the influencer sphere. Absolutely. And I think that it is seen as a really viable way to get clients and attract your get business and grow. So I think that there is definitely this sort of undeniable connection between wanting to be a travel agent and approaching the idea of being an influencer. I think the difference is travel agents are there to provide you a service, whereas influencers are there to work with brands and sell. You know what I mean? Like they don't actually care about a service. At least that's my interpretation of what an influencer is. So I think you're more likely to have travel agents that veer onto the idea of being an influencer more than you have influencers who become true travel agents.
That kind of makes me think though, like we think about some of our most successful agents about what they're putting out. And it's a lot of like, come with me to this trip, or here's how I spent my day in this destination. That's very travel influencer-y.
Yeah,
you know?
But I think at the end of the day, they're opening themselves up for questions. They're opening themselves up for an extra level of service. You don't get that with an influencer. There is no follow-up. I mean, I guess if you comment, they might comment back to you, but their end goal is so different. You know what I mean?
Well, I asked if they overlap because now travel influencers are starting to sell travel. Whether they
through brand deals though, where it's like a completely different setup. I mean, that's going to affect our industry in a pretty interesting way, I think.
And I mean, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like they're going to keep like you got travel agents and travel influencers. I think at some point they're going to converge.
So we've sort of talked about experiences, but something that I think is really interesting is the White Lotus effect, sort of.
I haven't seen the show. I'm going to start watching it this weekend.
Not a single episode?
No, because I'm not ready to, because I swear I'm cursed. Every time I start a show that's like really blowing up, it gets canceled the next season.
Okay, stay away then.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But I know that it's in like Thailand, which is not the first time Thailand's been like, I've said it before, the beach with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
That was in the 90s, and now the place is trashed. But I love all the memes about it. Like the next season of White Lotus should be at the Great Wolf Lodge in Ohio.
I've seen that. Like that very specific one. That's funny.
Yeah.
But something I think is in the realm of de-influencing, right, is it's totally natural and normal to watch a show like White Lotus and see these beautiful places and maybe be introduced to them for the first time. My point is that is not enough information to then go book a trip to Thailand. What you have to do then is see, okay, is this something I'm actually interested in? Does this place, like, does it have other things that I would enjoy? Like, this resort isn't real. So what real resorts
Mhm.
are there? Like, it's wonderful if it's a stepping stone for you, but you cannot think that that's going to be a realistic experience. And honestly, hopefully not, because like drama, you know what I mean? But
I
it's
know
just,
enough.
yeah, like the whole point of de-influencing, I think, is like use your head a little
Yeah.
bit, like put some thought into this.
So I'm going to refer back to this article that I read on Time Magazine because it ends on a really good, poignant thought, which was, so what do we do? Do we stop posting? Of course not. But what you should maybe do is put a little bit more thought into the content you're putting out
Oh,
instead of putting yourself in the center of it, maybe showcasing experience. Just be more thoughtful.
so that's like advice to an influencer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or even just if you're traveling in general, which is true because it's like, what's that one travel family? So there's this family that travels, right? And there's children. I mean, they're young, but I'm like, that just gives me the ick when I see people using kids for clout. You know what I mean?
Check
Like,
out the danger. No, it's oh gosh.
oh, the influencing documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, Bad Influence, the
Yes.
danger of
Yes.
kidfluencing or
Yes.
kidfluencers.
And also American Meme. That's a really good one too.
oh, okay, adding it to the list.
Yeah. But like that just
Yeah.
gives me the ick. Like that's like the epitome of what I think is so wrong about like honey, go take a picture with these indigenous women and make sure you all smile. Like that, oh, that's gross.
I mean, that's several levels of gross.
I
right
know,
there in
but you
that
see it
one
all the
sentence.
time that like that's the worst kind of travel influencer, you know, when you are basically
Exploiting your own family and the native culture in which you're going to
now, on the flip
experience.
side, there's one guy I follow. His name's Chris Burkhardt, and he is an amazing photographer. And he started out as a photographer, and he just happens to travel a lot. You know, he goes to Iceland and, you know, all the places I love. But eventually it became his career. But he's hardly in any of his own photos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he promotes sustainability and responsible tourism, even though you could put him in the category of travel influencer. He is what I would consider a travel de-influencer.
This is very interesting to me. And what I think that there is definitely a difference between putting out being a content creator or being a photographer or being a professional videographer and being an influencer. To me, it's right in the name. You are trying to influence me. You are trying to make me take a certain action that is going to directly benefit you in some way.
Now, you want to hear a crazy stat?
Let's do it.
Same article. Again, I'll put this in the link to this in the description. In a 2019 survey, half of respondents looked to influencers for travel inspiration. 86% chose their destinations based on the social media content that their peers, friends, family, whoever they follow are putting out. When it comes to Gen Zers, that number goes up to 92%.
Unsurprising in a way. But also, I wish there was a satisfaction part of that survey. And then, 80% went because of social media. And how many of that percent were satisfied?
I forgot to write it down, but it was like 40-some% say that the number of likes and reshares and comments on their content from their holidays, like their videos or whatever, was a reason or a factor in them deciding where they want to travel.
That's wild. But also, like, it is understandable. And that's, I think, the point, too, is like, we're not expecting everybody who listens to this podcast to all of a sudden change the way that you plan your travel or get inspired. I just think there has to be more to your process than simply seeing one viral post or one trending destination and letting that sort of guide your personal travel experiences. Like we talk about all the time, qualify. And ideally you're working with a trusted travel agent while you're doing this, but not every destination is for every person and not every way to experience destinations are for the same types of people and travelers. Like you gotta ask yourself some questions, man.
So I remember this is so long ago. Do you remember when Iceland became extremely popular in the, I would say, late 2000s to early 2010s? And one of the reasons was because Justin Bieber, remember this? He filmed a music video at this canyon, and suddenly everyone's flocking to this canyon. And I read an article, I can't remember where it's from, I didn't list it as my source, but I skimmed it real quick. It was written from the point of view of a family that lived in that area, that they went from seeing 3,000 visitors a year to 30,000 a year because of Justin Bieber's music video.
Well, and we know from everything else we've talked about on this podcast, that is not sustainable. There is no way that had a positive impact on anything but maybe the economy.
So the canyon, I'm totally gonna butcher this because I'm not. I haven't brushed up on my Icelandic recently.
Oh, Annie,
It's
how dare you?
Fjöllárrökrufur. Nailed it. Another place I think of that's like recently, maybe a few years ago, that just became like the Instagram hotspot was Lake Hallstatt in Austria. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
It's like the sleepy, snowy town on the river, and then it went viral. And it's a little town, and it just got swamped by thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like,
I
yikes.
don't know why this is making me so mad. It's just like, stop being sheep. Like, have your own thoughts. Have your own dreams.
Leave these people alone.
And like,
I mean, I get it. Not thousands of people aren't flocking to Cleveland unless it's the solar eclipse, allegedly. Or it's easy for us to say that. But or like the stairs from the Joker. Remember that?
Yeah, it's just stupid, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just think it's stupid. And another thing I think is really stupid and that people need to be influenced from is the product side of travel.
What do you mean?
Shopping, right? So you do not need a new outfit for every time you go on vacation. You just don't need it, dude. And like Coachella, like taking it back to the top of the episode, that's like a fashion event. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the time it's just littered there. And like the same can be said for like people that buy outfits just to wear on vacation. And I know this is a thing, or at least my like algorithms are trying to convince me that it's a thing.
Well, you're holding your phone right in your face, so now it's gonna
cute 2-piece fashion outfits for your cruise. No, and like it's such a thing. And what drives me nuts about this is you go on vacation to see people you don't ever see. They don't know what clothes you have at home. Like, they don't know what you wear all the time. Just wear your regular clothes.
We have to be honest with ourselves that as much as we rag on these travel influencers, there's a small part of us that's a little jealous.
Oh, 100%. I mean, obviously. I also think, though, like, we take what we do so seriously and so passionately, and we're always thinking about the ethics behind it. You don't know that with influencers. Maybe some do, maybe some don't, but you're part of a larger conversation that I think, I mean, I just obviously have a lot of feelings about it. But yeah, like you can be influenced in destinations, you can be influenced in products. And I have a whole list of travel products that I think are absurd. And I know we've talked about these a lot already in some past episodes. Like when we talked about like travel gifts and stocking stuffers and stuff like that. But some of these are just stupid. Like some of these, a bamboo cutlery set. Why are you traveling with your own utensils? What are you afraid of?
Just in case. You never know.
Would you do it?
No.
No, there's no way you would do that. Oh, those drink caddies. We've talked about that before.
What drink caddies?
Where you set them
on top of your
luggage.
It's so it's a great idea in theory, but so stupid in practice.
I mean, now granted, if you are a person that this really stands out to you because you have some concerns that you've traveled before and you're like, no, this product is for me, then that's for you. That's fantastic. What we're saying when it comes to de-influencing is asking yourself that question. Do I actually need this? Does this actually apply to me?
Right. Because you know me, I'm all about practicality.
Yes.
As much as I love shopping, I'm also very practical, and I've over the years have worked out a good balance between the two, which is why I have so many backpacks. Okay, so
well, we all have our things.
Yeah, we all got our thing. I guess the point is, I think it's gonna get to a certain point, like any trend, that people are just gonna get sick of it. People are already catching on that none of this is real. Like it's so fake, so superficial, and then we're gonna see a rise of the de-influencer, which of course wholly support that. I think the more authentic content we can get online.
Well, and just don't plan your whole vacation through influencers online. I mean, obviously, we're going to recommend using a travel agent that really knows and is invested in how your end trip goes.
Yeah. They're not motivated by brand deals and clout.
Yeah.
Like, they do what they do because they genuinely love it.
Most of them, like, I would say the lifeblood for a lot of travel agents is referrals. So like it is so important that you actually get that satisfaction part, not just, oh, well, you spent the money. And like there's so many different pitfalls I think that can happen when you let influencers or, you know, your travel desires be influenced anyway. But I think one of the most dangerous pitfalls we've seen with what is called airport theory.
No, I've heard of airport theory, but can you explain it to me?
I would love to explain it, Annie. So airport theory went viral recently, and it's the idea of you don't need to show up early to the airport. Give yourself a half an hour.
Nope.
A half an hour from when your plane takes off, not your boarding time. from when it takes off. And the idea is that, well, now you don't have to wait in line. And now you're just going to be breezed and maybe even prioritized in front of all these other people that showed up
No,
when they
you
were supposed
won't.
to.
I
No,
promise
you
you, no, you
won't.
won't. And also, that is just really selfish.
It's just like, I get it. Nobody likes hanging out at the airport, but like worst case scenario, you just got influenced into missing your flight and possibly your whole trip, depending
Clown.
on, you know, how it goes.
And now you look like a clown.
Yeah, so so there can be some really big downsides to allowing yourself to get influenced on these trends. There was another trend when it came specifically to flying where people were sort of showing off how they didn't do anything to get them through the flight. So they wouldn't look at their phones, they wouldn't listen to music, they wouldn't sleep, they wouldn't read, they would just sit and stare at the, you know, seat in front of them until their flight was over. That one's kind of silly, right? If you get influenced into do that, okay, whatever.
Listen, these travel trends, take it from the generation whose most famous trends included planking. Just don't follow them. So stupid.
Yeah. And you know, my 2 pieces of advice when it comes to de-influencing your travel. Number 1, ask yourself, is this something I would use or something I would enjoy myself? Not am I jealous? Not do I have FOMO? Not any of that. When it comes to destinations and products, really ask yourself, how does this relate to me and what experiences I want? And then the second one, which I think is hilarious, is if you're unhappy at home, you're gonna be unhappy in destination. Because I see all these influencers or, you know, aspiring influencers being like, turns out I wasn't sad. I just needed a 7-day cruise. No, girl, you're sad. And you're gonna be sad when you get home. It's like that old SNL skit with Adam Sandler. Which,
the Italian.
Yeah. Like travel isn't just gonna miraculously.
You're telling
fix
me that a
things for
7-day
you.
cruise wouldn't make you happy?
Of course it would. But if I have some underlying things going on, it's just a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? And like you're putting all of your mental health in a 30-second TikTok where somebody said it made them feel better to see the beach. Of course it did. But what happens when they get home? You know what I mean? Like be realistic with what you think your travel is going to do for you in the long run, you know?
I think it's just easier to be a little delulu about your life, you know? That's fine too.
I'm all like, put in the work, get it done, mental health. This episode did get me riled up though, so I think we want to hear from all of you out there. And if you are a travel influencer and you have, you know, because obviously we're not, so I genuinely want your perspective.
I don't know how active you are on Instagram, but whenever you get a new follower, do you ever look at your own profile to see what they see? Because I do.
No, I don't, but I also don't get new followers.
I feel like I do that because, one, you know, I don't really post personal things on my Instagram. I only have one Instagram because it's mostly my photography and video work.
Yeah.
But if you scroll back far enough, it's a lot of my travels too. So now I'm like, am I a travel influencer? Am I part of the problem? I'm like, oh, there's me on the rooftop of an opera house in Norway. Like,
Well, and I guess at the end of the day, are influencers really even a problem, or is it how we consume their content that's the problem?
It's a feedback loop is what I think my media class professor would call it. It's a feedback loop.
Sure.
We feed into it and then they feed off of us. It's a sick relationship we have with this kind of thing.
Travel agents over influencers all day long, though.
Yes. Anyway, so if you know any, you know, travel de-influencers, I would love if you could kind of at least educate me a little bit more about this. Because like I said, at the beginning of this episode was the first time I really heard this term. So drop a comment. You can also email us at travelstoriesunpacked@gmail.com.
Ooh, maybe people could share sometimes that they were duped, influenced, and it
Have
did
you
not
ever been
go well.
duped? Like you show up to a beach in Bali and like, you know, Bali is a really good example.
Or you know, those
Tulum.
restaurant traps where it's like all these crazy cocktails that you see. So you're like, oh, I'll do that when I'm in New York City. And then it was a disaster.
And that'll be $74, please.
Yeah, we want to hear any times you've been influenced and regretted it.
You can also text us right from the description and share us your travel stories and opinions. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. This is us influencing you to give us 5 stars.
Oh, dang. Is it true? Are we the problem? I don't think so. Maybe if we, you know, get a few more subscribers to the channel, maybe break like 1,000 views, then I'll say maybe we're influencers.
We'll
But
get
I don't
there.
think so.
We'll get there.
All right. And then no show next week, right? Because I know you have some travel coming up.
That's right. I am headed off to Zion National Park, which is a huge Instagrammable destination. So I will share my stories when I get back. It should be a good one.
And maybe she'll influence you to go there. No, I'm just I'm
mean,
just kidding.
maybe.
I can't wait to hear all about it though on the show.
I'm sure there'll be stories to tell. So,
All right, well, we'll be back. Thanks for watching.
and this podcast is brought to you by KHM Travel Group, a leading host agency for independent travel agents. Head to khmtravel.com to learn more.